by the denominator. So I look at what my denominator is tonight in my homework. Because the denominator is 11, what happens when we multiply or we divide 11 divided by 11? If I tell you if I ask this question, what's 11 divided by 11? It's 1. 11 divided by 11 is 1. So this 11 over this 11 is the same as 1. So please do this on your paper and your notes. You're going to practice a bunch of these questions today with clearing the fractions. So we get 6x minus 17 is now equal to, and on this side we actually want to do that multiplication. Now for some of you the dot doesn't work for multiplication. Try not to use an x, but maybe a parenthesis, and 5 times 11 gives us 55. This is a problem now like we have solved the last few days. So Evan, if I'm trying to get 6x by itself, what am I doing to get rid of the minus 17? I'm going to add 17 on both sides. So please write this as you were doing your notes. So we're going to add 55 plus 17. If you need a calculator, there's some up in front if you're doing your homework. And in this case, I get 6x, and Fisher, that will be equal to 72. At this point, I want to solve this. So if I am solving, Olivia, and I have 6 times x equals 72, what are you going to do to solve?
You're going to divide 6 on each side.
We're going to divide it. It says over here for our step is dividing by 6. And we get our solution of x is equal to, and if I am looking at that solution, 72 divided by 6 comes out to equal. What do we get? 12. And on your paper today, on C3, I asked you to do all the checks, and on today's, I'm going to have you do half the checks, okay? So what am I looking at for the check of this problem? Ashton, start me off. What would my check look like if this was my original problem in black up there? Not sure? Then you're a good person to ask, because you got to make sure you do this on all your homework. So we're going to start by writing the original numbers in the problem up here. So tell me what to write down. 6 what? Should I put in x from this original problem? What is x equal to? 12. So we're going to put 6 times 12. Write it down. What else should I write that was in the original problem? 17. Minus 17. And all of that was divided by 11. So on your calculator, 6 times 12, which you might be going, isn't that what we just did to get 72, right? So 72, you have a calculator? You need them. So 72 minus 17, 55. Put it in your calculator so you don't have to punch in any buttons, punch it in. And if I divide that by 11, do I get 5, which is what I was trying to get? Yes. So it checked. This came out to be, when I was looking at it, 55 divided by 11. And that is equal to 5. So it checks. So on half the problems today, you need to do the check. Okay? On half of them, Olivia. Did you put in 6 times 12 minus 17 equals 55? So if you only put it in your calculator this way, you put 6 times 12 minus 17 divided by 11. Do you know what your calculator thinks? It thinks, if you put it in exactly as it's written here, it thinks take 6 times 12 and minus 17 divided by 11. That's not what we intended, right? So when you put it in your calculator, you have to get, after you put this equal minus 17, you have to have it equal so that you get the 55. Or else your calculator thinks the only thing you're dividing by 11 is 17. Okay? So you have to be smarter than your calculator as you're looking at those. Okay? So, in your homework, turn back to the C3. Vans were in for an oil change. They also all need windshield wipers that cost $24 per van, and our total bill was $432. And we want to find out how much this company is charging to get our fleet of vans in to get their oil change. How much per oil change? So we are going to start off with, we have 8 vehicles. And if we think that X is equal to the cost of an oil change, So I'm going to have you do that. I'm sorry. I can't have that during class. So you can get it after class. I know, you can get it after class. So we're going to start with the cost of an oil change. That's what my X is. We are looking at, we had 8 vehicles that had to have their oil changed. Plus, all of those 8 vehicles had to get new windshield wipers. So 8 times 24. So when you think about writing equations, 8x plus 8 times 24 is going to be equal to the 432. And you should be able to use your calculator and multiply this out and solve this problem and then check it afterwards. But right now I want everyone to focus on number 11. And as we look at number 11, it said 3r, turn to number 11. We had 3r plus 2 divided by 4. So our first step when I take a look at that problem is we need to write the problem over again, and we're going to put 3r plus 2 in a parenthesis divided by 4 is equal to 2. I want to clear the fraction. So if I am clearing the fraction, that means I want to multiply on both sides so that I do not have this denominator. Which means, Amy, I should multiply on both sides by 4. And on this side, we're going to write it as 4 over 1, and on this side, we're just going to write it as times 4. Now, the reason we put it as 4 over 1 is because I don't want some of you to make the mistake and just put a times 4 down here. Because if you write this, this means 16. And that's not 16, right? We wanted those to cancel. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So my new problem is 3r plus 2 equals 8. So Jennifer, if I'm solving 3r plus 2 equals 8, subtract 2 from both sides. And once we've subtracted 2, we are left with what, McKinley? We still have 3r, and now it's equal to 6 as we look at it, right? So once I have 3r equals 6, I am now trying to finish solving that one. And as I finish solving that, Carter, what do I need to do to finish the problem?
You need to divide it by 3.
Divide both sides by 3.
Or divide by 3.
So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And when we divide both sides by 3, my solution is going to be that r is equal to 2. And so now we're going to do the check. So Julia, if I'm going to do the check, how would I write that? Okay. Okay. All divided by. So in your numerator, we are taking a look at 6 plus 2, which gives us 8 divided by 4. And that does give us 2, so it checks. So this is my check for that problem. If you didn't write down the checks, you need to do so. Okay? So your job tonight is going to be to finish question 12. And I will be walking around the room today, and I'm going to be checking clear the fraction. So you're going to work on this, and then as you finish this sheet, you can go back and work on C3, or if you really have questions on the check or doing things, you can ask on that. So what we're going to start is with this problem is we need to get this k divided by 2 by itself. So James, how do I do it? No, not yet. I need to get that to be the only thing on that side of the equal sign. I do not want a minus 5. So that's where these are tricky, because we've been doing the ones where we clear the fraction. We want to add 5 first. So please add 5 to both sides of your equal sign. Okay? So we are adding 5 on both sides of that equal sign on that worksheet. Okay? We end up with k divided by 2 equals what? Equals -2. Okay? So now the question is, I want to find k, and it says k is divided by 2. So Gavin, if I'm trying to find k, the opposite of dividing by 2 is? Multiply. And now I'm going to multiply on both sides of my equation times 2. This side I might put 2 over 1, and over here I might write just 2. So if I'm looking at that, k is going to be equal to -4. You need to do a check on half the question. So we're going to do the check. Maybe you go, I don't want to do the check on this one, then you have to do it on number 2, right? You're going to do it on half the questions, okay? You need to write down the check on half the questions. So Jennifer, I'm doing the check. And I know you said, I just don't get the check. So go back to the original, that's why I picked it. Okay, you're not the only one who doesn't get it. So the original problem is what? K divided by, but we don't want to use K, we want to use what was K equal to. So we're going to put -4 divided by 2. What's the rest of the problem?
-7.
No, minus what?
Or -5.
Okay, so that's what we're checking. So when you do this division, -4 divided by 2, that gives us -2. And -2 minus 5, does it equal -7? That's my check. That's all you're doing for the check. It's just making sure it works. Okay? So, 2 or 3? Do we start the same way as we did number 1? No. These are the ones we want to multiply first. So, on this whole first page, you don't get any fraction answers. On the whole first page, you don't get any fraction answers. But when we get to the back, I got to look at specifically which ones. I think it was 9 and 10 that I think you get fractions. And they're kind of ugly fractions. Just keep it as that improper fraction. But on this one, my first step is to do what? Multiply both sides by 11.